Well, Harrison Ford ate and left no crumbs of his dinner roll at the SAG Awards. Yes, you heard that here first. While Jessica Williams was presenting an award, Mr. Ford grabbed a huge piece of bread and started eating it behind her, despite her explicitly asking him not to.
She seems like she's cracked the code. He was having fun with her.
He really was. What do you think it was about that dynamic in particular that got Harrison sort of out of that mean shell?
I think he just doesn't like answering questions about Disney franchises, but he enjoys the company of his co-stars.
And that's a shrinking co-star, right? I've never
Yes.
seen it before. Okay, yeah. I mean, I saw that when that went viral, and I said, I have to watch this. Harrison Ford eats bread, SAG Awards. I clicked on it immediately, and it was just as silly as I could have imagined.
Yeah. I was longingly looking at the SAG Awards because for a few years, they used to always be on TNT and TBS. And so I used to always get to go, and they had the after party always had a sleigh raw bar.
Really?
Like shrimps and stuff. And I missed that this
Oh,
year.
I'm so sorry. When was the last time you got to go?
When would it have been? Well, I was there in 2019. Did I go after that? After COVID?
Did you get full access to everything?
Pretty much.
Whoa.
The shrine is a weird place. It's like very haunted feeling. But yeah, Netflix took over, which I don't know if they decided that's a moneymaker. I don't know why they wanted to do that, but
I heard that the sound, I read this all from this
Oh my
Entertainment
God.
Weekly article. I didn't watch this, but I heard the sound was complete shit. They said that they thought you could barely even hear Adrian Brody when he tried to debut a new character at the SAG Awards, that you couldn't even hear him because the sound was such shit.
I mean, it was shit on TV. Like, every single segment had a sound issue.
Whoa, what the hell was Ted Sarandos thinking?
He fucked up.
Sound, it's top two of the things that you need to solve. Visuals, second is probably getting them there, and then third, make sure it sounds okay.
During Jane Fonda's Lifetime Achievement Award, a sound came in from the gods and was like, and coming up next.
No way.
Yes.
I heard that Fran Drescher went off the deep end.
Yeah, everyone, it was a very unhinged vibes. Also, I just looked it up. I think 2020 was the last time I went. It was like the last thing I did.
Oh, for the
Before
Enterprise. Wow. Oh, okay. Wow. That is so cool that you got to go. I've never been to an award show.
I tried to stand close to Adam Driver because that was right when everyone was like, how tall is he? You know? And
Oh, yeah, of course.
he's tall.
Yeah, what, like 6'3"?
I don't know if I ultimately came up with a definitive answer, but I did take a photo extremely close to Brad Pitt. Have you seen this?
Oh my God. I think I have seen it, but holy shit. Everybody go on YouTube around 3 minutes in. What? Look at that wonderful photo. I feel like Adam Driver is like Harrison Ford-esque, or he appears that way, but he's secretly got such a fun spirit deep within him. As opposed to Harrison Ford, where he seems like a cranky piece of shit. You know what I mean? A total crank, yeah. Well, good. SAG Awards. Anything else notable? Because I know that you and I wanted to cover that for a little bit.
Happy for Timmy. That was a surprise. So maybe that shakes up the Oscar race. We'll see.
Do the Oscar people, those voters, do they peek at what's brewing with those other award shows and factor that into their final decisions, you think?
I think those votes are in already, but usually the other big ones are predictors. But I think so far it's almost exclusively been Adrian Brody, so this kind of shakes it up a little bit.
Giving it to Timmy.
Yeah.
Did I have to ask for Wicket heads, where did Wicket rake in the gold? Anywhere?
I think nothing that I saw.
Oh, okay. All right. I heard that the award was really heavy. This is all from the Entertainment Weekly article I read. Apparently, Kieran Culkin couldn't even carry it. He had trouble lifting it or something. Did you hear about that?
Talk about off the deep end. He was a rambling man.
Really?
But he always is.
Oh, because he,
He's irreverent.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my God.
It's wearing a little thin for me, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's kind of like, come on, take this seriously. Enough. You know
Snap out of it.
You know that you're really excited about this. What, he was just, how long did he ramble for?
Minutes.
Really?
he
Oh
was
my-
like, I got to get back on track. And he was just like doing a riff the whole time.
Oh my God, was he drunk?
No.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, Kieran Culkin, nip that in the bud. If you are nominated for an Oscar and you get up on stage, do not do any of
Have
that.
some respect.
Ah, shucks. Oh, I didn't think I would win. You're obviously one of 5 people that could possibly win. Get over it and act seriously.
Did you see that Roger Stone endorsed
I saw it. Oh
Jeremy
my God.
Strong as Roy Cohn?
Oh my God. I love it so much. Jeremy Strong is my favorite actor in the world forever. I love every photo I see of him on the red carpet where I love all those memes of him just speaking, extemporaneously about any subject.
The
He's
Dunkin'
so fun.
commercial, he had like deep artistic thoughts about it.
Oh my God. So fun. Did he didn't win anything, I assume.
No.
Oh, damn it. All right. Well, SAG Awards, congrats. Will you be a predictor of Oscar gold? We will see in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's soon. Is it
I
next
say-
weekend? It's this coming weekend.
Oh my, no way.
No, wait.
March 4th?
Yeah.
Conan's hosting.
Love him.
Will he be able to hold the mantle that is formerly held by Jimmy Kimmel after all of these years? I think he will. Do you think?
I mean, I love him, so I'm excited, but
Yeah.
I'm afraid that he's not a draw to
Oh,
most.
really?
Yeah.
So you think that the same viewers, when they saw Conan take over for Jay Leno on The Tonight Show, and they go, who the hell is this? And they go, can I please have Jay Leno back? That they're going to think the same about Conan?
Yeah, they're like, give me Kimmel. He's normal.
Give me Kimmel. That better not be the hashtag.
Headline.
If that's the hashtag, Conan flamed out on stage. Hashtag gimme Kimmel. That's great. March 10th. March 10th is the Oscars. Amy and I are completely to the moon. We want to go to the Oscars so bad. March 10th is when
No,
they're
it's the
debuting.
second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at last year's. Oh, it's this weekend?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Where's the time gone?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to say something after the Oscars. I'm not going to say it before, but I have scoops to deliver about the Oscars.
my
I cannot
God.
believe it's this weekend.
I know.
Whoa. All right, who will win? Will Wicked get shut out completely like a house falling on or that's not a good metaphor, but anyway, we don't know what's going to happen with Wicked. We don't know what's going to happen with I predicted one Turtle Time lock. Adrian Brody's getting it for Brutalist. I think they got to play it safe. It's the one epic movie. They can't give it to who the hell else
Timmy.
is there? They can't give it to Timmy yet. They make you earn it so long before they're going to give it to Timmy. They're going to give it to Timmy when he's 45 and he was just in a shitty movie or something. They're going to say, oh, this is Timmy's time.
Yeah, well, it would be a real fun shakeup, but anywho.
All right. Good. Well, anything, I was wasn't too sure about the Bravo News this week. Did you find anything of note?
Why do I feel like it's been like a real dust bowl lately?
I don't know. I really don't know. I saw, I'll just say this. Apparently Will Trent has some competition with him on his ABC television show. That's right. Will Trent, make room on your show for a huge surprise cameo guest. Ariana Madix is just debuting on the show, Will Trent. So congratulations to Ariana on that.
Huge. Yeah, I think I've been, we don't need to get into it again, but I've been in the Baldoni updates still, and I have to say I was quite taken aback by that Hollywood Reporter cover.
Oh, describe it to me again. You sent it to me. I thought it looked amazing. It's like, what were they dressed as? And
It was
stuff?
very AI looking. It was like David and Goliath vibes. She has a slingshot. She's slingshotting an iPhone at him, and he has a copy of It Ends With Us. And people, oh my God, I don't think I took a screenshot. I was laughing. I was reading the comments. Apparently there's like a wider version of like, it's cropped on the cover, but there's more details where like Nice Pool is in the corner. Yes.
Oh, yeah. She said it's sexist.
Oh yeah, she did.
Why? Because of what she's... I don't want to guess, but... Because I haven't looked at it very much, but what the hell... What the slingshot
some
of
people
the...
say that he's portrayed as Goliath, which would mean she's the underdog.
Oh.
So I don't really know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it is an unflattering. It's kind of just a weird image, period. But I saw a comment of like people were picking apart all of the details, and someone in the comment said, "It's giving like art back in the day where it has more meaning than you think."
Oh my God. I'll speak for everyone when I say I'm looking at this. This is giving art for sure. Butterflies, what do those symbolize? He's holding a book. The Hollywood sign is behind them. What the hell does that mean? She's definitely, I hate to break it to everyone. It's this, I know biblical stories. She's definitely David. David used the slingshot and shot a rock and hit
Yeah.
Goliath in his head and
But
won
he
the battle.
also has one.
What? Oh, so it's kind of like, who's who? Ah,
And then Nice Pool is on over her shoulder in the wide version, and then his lawyer is over his shoulder in his.
I want to get the extended fold out of this. It's just so cool. I wonder if this has all of the details, and I could just read this one magazine and get the full scoop. I like it.
Maybe. Yeah, it's wild.
Anything new on their end? I think they're going to save it for the legal system, right?
Well, yeah, now they're just going back and forth, and Jenny Slate's getting dragged into it. I don't think
Why?
she cares to be.
Because she's in that bookstore, that flower shop.
She apparently, we need more details. The thing that came out is that she, I guess, complained at one point because she didn't like her apartment that she had rented for during the shoot, and she couldn't move because the security deposit was $15,000. And I guess the producer guy, not Baldoni, the other one, what's his name? Jamie Heath, I think, gave her, he was like, we'll pay the 15 grand, you can move. And apparently he said something weird about motherhood, like the sanctity of motherhood. And in the original Hollywood Reporter story, it said that a complaint was filed with Sony, and then if you refreshed it like 24 hours later, it said word got back to Sony. So it like got downgraded to more just like they heard that she like was displeased or something like that. But it sounds like maybe she bumped up with this guy, but now Blake is trying to be like, yeah, like, come on, join, because, like, you didn't like him either. And I think she's like, I literally don't want to do this.
Wow. So, Jenny Slate said, help me with my security deposit. The producer said, we'll help with you. We know about the sanctity of motherhood. And then she said that seems a little bit like possibly sarcastic or something. And then Blake Lively wants to use that as ammunition that this entire production is sexist in a way.
Yeah. I really need to see exactly what the exchange was, because I'm kind of hard pressed to find. He must have said something horrendous if you thought it was worth it to complain after getting what you wanted.
What are some really horrible things you could say about motherhood that a producer would say to a actor on their set, a talent, saying, yeah, hey, I know you got to get out of the apartment. You're apparently a really good mother, so you got to get your kids out of there. Like, what? I can't even imagine.
I know, I'm trying to like drum up what's worst case scenario, and I like can't come up with something that justifies it.
So she got an apartment. Well, we don't have to. I'm going to read that Hollywood Reporter article, and I want to know more, but we'll wait until some of the dust has settled a little bit. I have to ask, did Baldoni.com ever come out?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't. What was there any stuff that came on it?
Well, they just like posted all of those texts and everything. They posted every exchange of all time. But at this point, honestly, it's so like ridiculous that even I am like losing steam, where I'm like, this is just like fucking stupid. Yeah,
it's so cowardly. I'm calling out the Hollywood Reporter. I'll take this back, at some point, but it's so cowardly of them to put two slings in and make them be like, we are not judging who is David and who's Goliath, but make her look more like David, but then he apparently also has a sling in this thing. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be authoritative. You've heard all the details. Make a cover that reflects your viewpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and Bethany keeps flip-flopping. She
really?
Well, after she loved the SNL part of it, she was like, that was iconic. She was like, SNL is the breeding ground for all like
culture.
commentary and culture. They knew that was like the best thing they could ever do, and I agree. Like nothing better than that.
What
And
was good about it?
In the comments was like, no, 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 no. But then the other day she posted again and was like, I'm reading this stuff, and I gotta say, she was like, I mean, it was kind of like ballsy. She was like, I'm gonna need to see some real violence and like trauma in this the details of this, because right now it's giving you stole my pencil case and you hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And she said this is the most, she said, woke trial ever.
I heard her. It was like a stand-up comedy set. She goes, what's next? Suing for tofu next to beef at the catering tent? And I was like, oh my God, Bethany. Oh my God, I got to tap back in. I love this
Didn't
stuff.
she do stand-up really briefly?
I think so.
She tested it out.
A couple nights. I think a 3-night set, or 3 back-to-back nights somewhere. But yeah. I was just gonna say I really enjoyed SNL 50. I watched it.
You did?
2 days ago. Oh yeah, I thought it was like 80% pretty amazing. I mean, like what they were able to get away with and honor the history and all that shit. And the John Mulaney sketch was so good. I was like so proud of them. The New York one was so amazing, like a masterpiece. That was so funny. I thought they did such a good job. But anyway, well, good. I mean, not a lot of Bravo news there. What would you say?
No. Do you think we're any... Well, I saw Kyle Cook posted after the SNL 50. He posted like a picture of a table that said like it had his name on it and it said SNL 50. But I don't know if like he actually got to go or if there was some sort of like an NBC event or something like that. But
or if he just got a note card and wrote that down and took a photo below him.
Yeah, but I'd be happy for him if he got to go.
Me too. That would be so awesome. Well, let us know, Kyle. I think do you want to talk about what if we discuss part 1 and 2 of Real Housewives of Potomac first, and then talk about Southern Charm? Would that make sense to you strategically?
Let's do it. We thought we were out of the woods and that Potomac was only 2 parts, but it does appear to be 3. So we'll talk about it again next week. But now we'll cover the first 2.
I knew when Eddie got that FaceTime call or he called TJ, I knew we were in for at least 42 more minutes because it happened too much at the end of that segment. I really did think it was going to be 2 parts. I mean, I'm not complaining, but it got, you could argue that it got stretched out unnecessarily, but I'm so excited about part 3 for what they're teasing.
Yeah, I think it worked out then because 1 and 2 can totally be consolidated for us to talk about. So it starts
with what everyone is thinking about. The Karen bombshell. Bravo takes liberty with that body cam footage and they show all of it. They talk about when Karen's sentencing was, which I think was in December, when she was found to be guilty, and then they show the body cam footage and they cut the major moments of that thing. They did not spare Karen in any way. They gave I don't know what the fuck Grand Dame means or why anybody ever calls me that. Her getting arrested with handcuffs. Her saying, I'm lit, or I just had a couple of beers. Like, we watched that footage, the 16 minutes or whatever. Yeah. And that was it. I mean, those are the 5 or 6 most biggest moments from that footage. So
yeah,
kind of shocking.
Her court date was on your birthday.
I know, I saw that. I didn't know when I was celebrating my 39th birthday that's what Karen was going through.
Yeah. So yeah, she looked pretty rough in that video that they showed after she got found guilty. She said her heart dropped. It was very frightening, but she said that she takes responsibility, and she says that she's not an alcoholic.
Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, should we talk about it now or talk about it? I mean, I guess I'm not 100% sure. I'll just talk about it now. So she's not an alcoholic. She said that she wants to discover or research her relationship to antidepressants and alcohol, but she's not an alcoholic, but she specifically is seeking treatment right around the time of the reunion. Like, what did you make of that whole sequence of events?
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have a problem with alcohol, you have a problem with the combination of antidepressants and
I
drinking.
immediately thought of Erica Jane because when she was mixing her antidepressants and alcohol is when she called Garcelle's son a little pig or whatever.
Oh my God, what the hell did she call him? I forget. Oh,
I think she told him to, like, fuck off or
I think
something
she
like
did.
that. So, I mean, it's not an excuse. Like, when you have prescriptions, you have to, like, know what you're able to do with them or whatever. But
Right.
she definitely did seem, in the footage upon rewatch, it did seem like something potentially beyond alcohol. Like, it seemed, I mean, she could have just been wasted, but it felt maybe pilled out too.
So at least she started with the words, I accept full responsibility for my car crash. That's something that I wanted to hear all season. It was the biggest shock to me that Karen was defending her behavior the entire season, and then you see that footage, and that's how everybody's reacting to this. So I was finally glad for I accept full responsibility, and she didn't try to get out of it morally anymore. She's taking ownership. And then next is this happened January 9th. The reunion happened so recently. The way they're able to cut this and everything so quickly, and then everybody is realizing that Karen is not going to join them in that moment. No one knew beforehand.
I know. They're like checking the names on the doors, and they're like, I'm not seeing a Karen. Also, I'll just say, I think this just past week I saw something from, was it The Judge, or there was something going around about Karen's sentencing, where they brought up how she has had all of these offenses over the past 15 years or whatever, and that she never had to serve time before, and that shows that she doesn't like realize that she's gotten complacent or felt comfortable in doing these bad things, and so I'm kind of afraid that they're going to slam the book at her this time.
Yeah, I don't want to... I was hearing from somewhere that it was like possibly the third or fourth time this has happened, which, if you're a judge, I mean, I'm just imagining myself as a judge and being like, you're doing it over and over again. At some point, you have to learn your lesson that this is horrible, because the next time could have more disastrous consequences.
Yeah.
Easily.
Totally.
What happens? So then they're all, I mean, we can kind of skip forward a little bit. We don't have to go so wild. They recognize that Karen is, not there. They try to call her. Wendy is so disappointed in Karen because she's like, I rode for Karen this year. I was telling everybody to shut up and be quiet about her accusations, and gave her the benefit of the doubt, all for her to then, she threw me under the bus with Stacy, and then she won't even answer our phone calls, the people who were loyal to her, through this whole process. So Wendy's pissed.
Oh yeah, her and Wendy are done after this, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Andy fills in the group that she's checking into private recovery. They're all like talking about whether or not she's doing this first of all, they're like, she should have done it before her trial, but at least she's doing it before her sentencing. So then they're talking about, like, is she only doing it because of that? And then Giselle's like, wouldn't anybody do that? And Andy's like, yeah, I would. Like, that's just a smart thing to do.
Totally. Oh yeah, I would have booked myself immediately right after. Said, I have the worst problem in the world. I need to get this over with. I also liked when they show Karen's video, and that's when she says, I want to think about my relationship with antidepressants and alcohol. And then she goes, and then it's kind of a Karen, like a power move in a way, which it's like, you're surprised that Karen still wants to create conflict, or I don't know, it was just surprising to me. She's like, I've got a few people to thank.
It was like out of a movie. She goes, first and foremost, most importantly, and Wendy gets ready to receive it. She's like, here we go. Like, I'm the best one. I've been here the whole time. And then she's like, Giselle.
And Giselle knows. She's like, she's like, oh, I'm so ready for this. She goes, the note you left me and my flowers, I will never forget it. Giselle, that was amazing. Kay, you know,
I was like, not Kay.
Kay, you know you've been absolutely loyal to me and you're still loyal to this day. Thank you, Kay. Jazzy, you were great. And then Andy Cohen, she goes, Candace.
Candace is even on the damn show and she gets thanked.
Yeah, and Andy, I think you might have to put up a fight with Giselle for who reached out to me first to check in on me. And Andy goes, I'm pretty sure Giselle did. He points to Giselle. And it's just funny to leave specifically people out when you're supposed to be holding full accountability. Like, she will apologize to Mia or Wendy, and then Wendy obviously feels the biggest slight from this because Wendy is the one of all people. She took Karen to the White House with her to honor her. Yeah. And she's so offended.
Not only was she not first, but she was not mentioned.
Not mentioned at all.
But yeah, Giselle is like emotional. She's like, I've always wanted Karen to get the help she needs because deep down she's a good person. So I was like, well, that's nice. And Wendy's pissed. She's like, first of all, what she said to me about me to Stacy, and now no acknowledgement. She goes, she is not my friend. And there's like a montage of her defending her all season or over the years. And Giselle's like, I've been telling you this the whole time. And she's like, I didn't trust your ass.
No, it took Stacy and not getting that thank you in Karen's video for her to really realize that Karen does not view her favorably at all. So yeah, Wendy's pissed. Wendy gets she's the first one that gets the package or whatever, Wendy said that she feels much more liberated not being a professor now, that she doesn't have to adhere to the rules of, sort of like, the professor, what's that called? The aesthetics of that a professor has to adhere to. So she's kind of feels free. And then they ask about the weed company. I thought this was really interesting. They go, how's Happy Eddie and his Happy Eddie weed company? And then they go, it's booming. Cannabis industry is so wonderful. And then I forget, Stacey compliments it or something. And then Giselle goes in immediately on Stacey and goes, I've heard that you're setting up a Happy Stacy line Spacey Stacy line of edibles. And Stacey goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. She goes, oh, you didn't meet with somebody and say, I demand a cannabis line because I'm a celebrity? And Stacey is saying, no, absolutely. And then Giselle says, well, when she debuts her cannabis edibles next season, you heard it here first. So it sounds like Giselle got some early scoop.
Cheater brand.
I told you, but like, why would that be Stacey's first foray into a business? I don't remember checking in with her at all about her relationship with cannabis, and it doesn't seem like a clear one-to-one of all of the businesses that Stacey could have right at the gate, but it sounded to me like possibly Stacey got busted, and I don't doubt that Stacey will just drop negotiations on that completely and not do it because of how much she was called out and how much she denied it.
Totally. I just also wanted to mention really quick that Andy said that his eyes almost fell out of his head when he watched the DUI video and his name was mentioned. And he's like, and I just want to say I did not coin that term. Giselle did, of the Grand Dame, which now Karen, Andy called it the headline of her video, was that she wants to shed Grand Dame and just be Karen. It's very Call Me Jason, Jax vibes.
Oh, totally. We've been talking on Patreon about one of the iconic episodes where Jason or Jax relinquishes his Jax persona and becomes Jason. This is just like that. But then I didn't understand this. Andy goes, Giselle created that name. And then they show a flashback and Giselle in 2023, 2 years ago, I gave her that name. It's like, well, where's the proof? When was the first time it was ever mentioned? And
I know. I was like, is that just the only clip they have of her like claiming that like cleanly in a sentence? But I was expecting like a season 1 clip.
Me too. Yeah. I'm really surprised that Karen doesn't know what it means, but I don't either.
I know.
But I would just think if she'd been called it for 10 years that she would have thought about it a little bit.
I know. I've always been a little confused. Like, we have a shirt that it's like our Karen shirt and it says Grand Dame on it or whatever. And I'm like, if anyone ever asks me why she's called that, like, I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I don't really know either. I think Giselle needs to explain it a little more if she coined that.
What did you think about Wendy's trust fund levels to unlock? She has gamified her children's trust funds.
I said to myself, I go, I don't mind this. And I didn't really have a strong opinion. I talked to Megan about it. Megan said that's really weird and odd to to incentivize things that maybe necessarily are not on the life path of your kid, but kind of try to push them in that direction. And so I'm kind of between. Like, if they're going to get a certain amount of money and then they get 20 grand more for getting a master's degree, it means something to her, and it's her money, so I understand why she wants to incentivize that and the sorority and stuff. So I'm not all the way off it. As long as I'm glad she clarified that, of course, they still get an inheritance. She just wants to push them in the direction of things that she values. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's weird too. I guess I would be like, if I was the kid, I'd be like, okay, like, I do not want to go to your sorority at all, but I want to do this cool other thing. Can we sub that in? Like something that's like a different challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, can I get a cool internship,
Right.
Abroad?
Yeah.
And could that possibly... Yeah, I think so too. I'm sure this is all negotiable for Wendy. I don't think it needed to be. I think that they made too much of that.
What would you want Penny to unlock?
Oof, I think that's why I'm thinking of this. I'm like, Penny, what shall she unlock with my coveted money that I'm going to give her? Okay, so the big treasure chest is open. I'm getting all my money. How am I going to... I don't even believe in higher education right now. I would say... I would almost push for her to think about what she wants to do with her life in a more organic, non-school oriented way.
Learn a trade.
Learn a trade. Well, who knows? What the hell is education going to be in 18 years?
She can do like car upholstery.
Yeah, anything like that. Whatever. I know personally, this is going to get really too personal. I felt like I had to make a decision too early in life. My brain at 18, I was smooth brained. I was not ready to make a monumental life decision. I'm sure other people feel that way. I wish I would have had 2 or 3 years off to decide what I really wanted to do. I was just like, it was like high school continued for me for at least the first 2 years, and I was probably immature about it. So I would never want to wish that upon someone. Do not spend all of that time and energy if you're not going to actually focus on what you want to do for the rest of your life. So, I don't know how I incentivize that, but...
Well, we're going to set up Penny for success. We're going to read to her because it sounds like kids today can't read. So we'll make sure that she skips that, gets ahead.
I've already started. She's been reading Elena Ferrante and Lonesome Dove. She loves both of them. You're right. I'm going to think of more incentives for Penny that align with my education worldview. So you think that I think you're right. She could let him have a little more flexibility in what those accruals are, of achievements are.
I mean, the basis of the question, I think, was a good question where they're like, aren't you just extending the same pressure that you felt crippled by from your mom? And she's like, well, I made it a little less intense or whatever, but it is still from the same sort of mindset.
Yeah. I mean, a focus on a master's degree is very arbitrary. A master's degree in what? Like, they just have to continue schooling for a certain point, even if they're not passionate.
And I'd be like, are you paying for that too?
Yeah. I mean, she might be. Then they're kind of talking about the Karen and Wendy dynamic, which we already discussed a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was really rude. They all say that Karen gathers people as if she's Mother Goose, and sort of mothers them. And if they ever spurn her, she casts them away. And almost everyone agrees. Ashley is nodding. Like, that happened to Ashley. So Wendy feels the same way about that. And then Stacy is talking about her conversation with Karen, where Karen tried to guide her. And then Wendy says that Karen did the same thing with Wendy and warned Wendy that there's another smart, super educated person coming into the cast, so watch out. And then Giselle, for absolutely no reason in the world, goes, is Stacy smart and well educated? It's like, absolutely, there was no reason to say that, and it's just so mean. And it's like, what's your grudge against Stacy again?
I know.
I don't even remember for 1 second what Stacy ever did to Giselle. She just absolutely hates her. Saying that she's not smart is just like, I don't know, it's just so mean to me. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, she has a grudge.
Totally.
But yeah, they said that Karen grooms the newbie, which I thought was funny language.
Yeah, me too.
And Kay was like, I haven't been taken to the tally ho yet, so I'm marked safe for now.
I want to go to Tally Ho. If we're ever in that area, I don't know when we ever are, but that we have to go to Tally Ho. And then they show a photo of proof of Stacey has good proof of everything that she talks about. I don't think we've caught her in a lie yet, and she has the Tally Ho. They should frame that at the Tally Ho, that photo to show that that's like a central plot point of this season.
Oh yeah, when we storm the Capitol next time, we should go there.
Yeah. So fuel up.
Yeah.
Fuel up a Tally Ho. Get that. Wasn't the Karen Huger special? It was pancakes, hash browns, and then a flute of mimosa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds perfect. When are we doing that? 2026?
Details to come. They get into. I don't feel like the Jazzy stuff was that interesting.
No, Jazzy. Unfortunately, Jazzy. It's I would say if I was a betting person, I'm not 100% sure. Unless just Jazzy gets friend of next season and they try one more time because they like the Darius stuff. But
I know. I was thinking it's got to just be that they think that the football thing is a draw, and I'm like, not for me.
Her edit was seriously about 5 minutes. Andy was like, anything else left to say, Jazzy? It was kind of like, it was treated so much more respectfully than the Rebecca Minkoff thing.
I was thinking that.
It was the exact same impact of someone not having impact, but they let Jazzy walk away. They let Jazzy say, bye, Andy. Like
I know. He was like, thank you so much. He was so nice.
Where Rebecca, we talked about it, they like left her in the dust there, like having to like get up off the seat and everything.
Yeah. They tried again to get Giselle and Ashley to explain what GNA is currently, and they were like, we're a liaison between community and charity. Ashley said that with her divorce and everything, she didn't want to put too much money into the retail element, so basically they're not selling anything anymore, but they are not a charity. They are helping their community. So does that just mean sometimes they throw events?
Yeah, I'm going to say this honestly. I don't know what GNA is. I'm not 100% sure what its final form is going to be. I know it started as an athleisure brand.
Yeah.
Then it turned into a brain tumor awareness / charity fund. Then it's health and wellness, which kind of goes hand in hand with charity. And now it's community outreach or charity outreach. But it seems like even they are not 100% sure what they want to do with GNA ultimately.
Yeah, it seems like they should just drop it. But that's why I'm like, okay, it makes sense that I was so confused because I missed last season when they had in its last form. So then when they had an event this year, I was like, wait, what is that?
So they're having the athleisure runway show when Kay unfortunately gets a cup thrown at her head by Deborah. So that was the debut of the athleisure brand. I think we talked about this already, and I still think this is the answer. GNA is a scene generator for Ashley and Giselle.
Right.
Just say, we're doing a GNA event. It's anything in the world, and you'll most likely film it because it has 2 OGs in the scene. It's kind of a interesting
life hack.
thing. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay, this is my favorite part. Mia invited Stacey and Jazzy, right?
Yes.
To
officially,
Miami. Yeah.
Text.
For her birthday. We see the text. It's like a formal invite. Come to Miami for my birthday. They respond. They show the text. They're like, hell yeah, I'm in. I'll be there.
Stacey's perfectly cordial. I cannot wait to celebrate you. Thank you so much. I will be celebrating you. It's all there. It's all there in text.
And then Mia starts to get into, she's like, because we'll get into what happened, but she's like, I had hired a POC, and they're like, what the hell do you mean? And Ashley's like, a point of contact.
Right.
And so like, that's who was coordinating this or whatever. So it sounded like she was going to start to blame like a planner for like mismanaging this.
Yeah.
But then when you see what happened, Stacey literally flies in. She goes, oh my God, Norman's like sneezing.
It's okay.
She's like, I'm here in Miami, ready to celebrate you. And that's at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Mia doesn't respond until midnight saying, Queen, where are you, love? And it turns out also that Stacey had gone to dinner at the scheduled time and no one was there.
Yeah.
I think she came like an hour No one was there within the first hour of the scheduled time.
No one.
Imagine flying to another state for your friend's birthday. She never texts you. You show up to the dinner and no one is there.
Yeah, and Mia is also getting called out multiple times and creating new little lies until finally the texts are revealed, and it's just an open and shut case in Stacy's favor. And Stacy is really pissed. I didn't really understand what was Jazzy doing? Did she also go to Miami but didn't go to the dinner, or like what was?
I know, she seemed less pissed.
Yeah, but Mia really takes this to immediately when the pressure is on her, I think she kind of gets very upset, and then she admits that she was just not a good friend at this time, and she drops the point of contact thing and just says like, I was a horrible friend and I'm very sorry, but she gets completely busted.
Totally. I don't even really, she doesn't quite say what happened, except because then she just gets so upset and said she didn't have the capacity to be a good friend and all this stuff. But I'm like, what were you doing though?
Yeah, I mean, I get a fashionably late entrance to dinner. You know, I did that at Benihana's this year for mine. I was an hour late. I let everybody start getting, fired up before me. But I don't know. I guess because Stacy had no contact at all the entire time, and she missed the yacht part, and then to show up at the dinner, you think that you fully have missed the window on all of the activity by that point. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. I guess just maybe it was very badly planned, and Mia doesn't care at all about about Stacy and Jazzy, and so she just didn't make any effort to, they're new cast members. If it was Giselle showing up, she probably would have cared a lot more. But I just think that she just didn't give a shit about Stacy and Jazzy in that moment on her birthday, and she just looks like a very bad friend.
Yeah, I forget who said, they were like, she was more concerned about ink, so I guess she was just like with him or other people. But I'm like, that really is unforgivable. Like, I would be like, fuck you forever if you did that to me. Yeah,
Wendy calls Mia out on what she conceives of as Mia's strategy, which is do a bunch of horrible things, and then when you are accused of it and caught, you just immediately cry and become victim. Wendy says, I've seen that time and time again, so I just want to note that that's always what Mia does.
Yeah. But yeah, she storms off. Andy goes into her dressing room. She also goes into to apologize to Stacy in her dressing room, and she's like not really buying it, and she's like, well, I tried. And Andy goes into Mia's dressing room, and he's like, stop beating yourself up, you're in a shame spiral, like the fact that you feel bad means that you're not a bad person. Like, he's just trying to like get her back on the stage. He's like, and she's like,
we all hate being in a shame spiral, but you got to get back out there.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm in the final weeks of my divorce, so I'm really emotional right now, which that'll come up again later.
Yep. Yeah, and then that that's part one. We ripped through it. Should we just keep going to part two?
Yeah. So yeah, that is like the first part of part two, and then Giselle sort of does like life updates, and they reveal, I think I saw this online already, but her ex Jamal's his wedding was like, the meme online was that it was Wicked themed because he wore green and she wore pink, which is unfortunate timing considering the marketing juggernaut happening at the time.
They made it like it was so much more of a blatant Wicked themed. I was expecting him dressed as Elphaba and her as, what is Elphaba's nemesis? Glinda the Good Witch?
Yeah.
I really thought it was going to be more. And then I looked at it and he's wearing green and she's wearing pink, right?
I know, but the internet, what was happening at the time, it's like, that's a little rough.
Right. But it wasn't. It wasn't Wicked themed. No, I thought, but they made it. I mean, for viewers, I really thought Jamal was dressed up like Elphaba, and they were trying to capitalize on Wicked. And then Andy goes, "Does he even watch?" I feel like they were leading Andy astray. He goes, "Does he even like Wicked?" And Giselle goes, "No, he's never seen it." But it's like it wasn't specifically Wicked themed, you know.
Well, as they say in Wicked, green goes good with pink.
When do they say that?
When they like start being friends.
Oh, that's great. The girls were horrified, Giselle says. They showed up and they didn't know that they were at a Wicked themed wedding. And then also Giselle says that her daughters don't really know his wife very well, his
Right.
now wife, their stepmom. They haven't really gotten to know her very much, so that was kind of an interesting detail.
Yes. She says that she's still seeing Nams. I don't know like how seriously, but she seems happy with that. And apparently he's friends with Josh still, Ashley's guy, but Ashley is no labels with Josh. So it sounds like they started hot and heavy, but they kind of scaled it back and are just, I don't know, doing whatever. But Nams says that Josh is head over heels.
That's so cute. It's still, I have, I love that they're still talking, and they don't need to be boyfriend and girlfriend necessarily. And then they talk about, they give the edit of all of the horrible things that Wendy has been saying about Josh. They go, Jack Harlow looking ass, middle schooler, lateral move. This guy completely sucks. And then Ashley goes, or they go, what was his response to seeing all that? And Ashley goes, he was actually really offended. A lot of his friends were texting him being like, why is that person being so mean to you for no reason? And then Wendy doesn't give an inch on this one. She says, I don't give a shit. He'll get over it. And also, you've talked horribly about my husband, Eddie, so it's basically payback, which I didn't know that. I didn't know that this was potentially her talking shit about Ashley's significant other because of things that Ashley had said about Eddie. I thought it was coming out of nowhere. So at least it gives it a little more rationale for why she was being so mean for no reason to Josh about his appearance.
Yeah, and then they have like a back and forth, and Andy has to be like, all right.
I was kind of interested though that Wendy and Ashley hate each other like that. When they're getting into it, it's like really bad.
Yeah.
Like they kind of have a simmering feud that I don't think is very discussed.
True. Yeah. Then we get more updates. Kay and Greg are still together, even though they did separate for a while. She's buying a condo by herself, but they're still together.
Yes. Yeah. A little, I guess they just took a couple steps back, and the living situation must have been a nightmare. But Andy was kind of sweet to Greg. He goes, very, like, threw him a huge lifeline. He goes, it's not always easy for, some people to be on this show. And he even came to watch What Happens Live during your appearance on that. And he sat in the audience, and I asked him, he talked about how hard it was, or I asked him about that. And he goes, I'm just here to support Kay. And he thought that was really sweet. So I was like, wow, that was really nice of Andy to just like give Greg that honor.
I feel like Andy's like soft these days. Like,
you think you would?
He's, I don't know. I mean, he'll still like give it to people sometimes, but generally he just seems like nicer. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was nice. He didn't have to be nice like that to Greg. I thought he was just being. Yeah.
We also hear that Stacy and TJ have broken up. She says it was a lot of pressure to be in that relationship. Her family didn't like how he treated her, and when she would watch the show back, she'd be like, "Damn, like." He sucks.
Yeah. I mean, still, the clip they showed, that was like one of the 5 times he talked to her that way. The get your hand off me clip, it's still so shocking to witness that.
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad that she had that same reaction that everyone did about TJ in that moment. So yeah, that was great, but it sounds like there's not full clarity here because she still considers him her best friend, which is already the label that she was calling him. So everybody says nothing has changed. Then you're still not having sex with this person, and you're still labeling him your best friend. But she's officially saying that they're not dating anymore. Yes.
So we'll see what horrible thing he says about her that we find out next week.
Right.
Andy also asks if they did everything but have sex. And she's like, we had some intimate moments. And everyone on the side is trying to like throw out, they're like, cunnilingus, how about this? How about that? And she's just like, anyways.
Yeah, she won't tell us, what they did. So we just have to imagine, I guess. And then someone compared it to the Kenya and Walter situation. I didn't understand.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, me too. But I didn't really understand because Stacey goes, it was hard for me to hear that people were saying that I was paying TJ to be on the show with me. I was like, why the hell would she pay to have this guy who sucks on the show, who treats her like that and who's not actually her boyfriend? Like, it didn't make any sense. What's the advantage for her to pay for that? If anything, TJ would pay her to allow himself to be on the show. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't believe that this is a fabricated romance for the show. It didn't. I don't know. It didn't seem like she was using it as a storyline.
Yeah, it was like weird, but we'll never get to the bottom of that. Also, she reveals that she's divorced, which honestly show all the other ladies how it's done. She got that done so fast compared to everyone else.
How do you do that?
I mean, I guess if you guys just agree quickly, then that's that.
Wow, because Ashley is still, in real time, she is divorced from Michael, but still in January, she wasn't. So it was still like a couple weeks out or whatever. So yeah, congrats to Stacey on that divorce. And then I thought this was interesting. They have a fashion segment, and this was a shocking revelation to me. Vivian at the dog... what was that? Dog charity show. Yeah. Stacey wore a dress, and they were all making fun of her. They were like, "You look like Annie from Orphan Annie. Your dress looks like shit. We hate your blonde hair." And then also, not only that, but on the cutting room floor, Ashley says, "I wore that exact same dress this season 2 months ago that Vivian got for me." And then when Stacey heard that, she could not believe it. She thinks that Vivian purposefully sabotaged her with the wardrobe by giving her a dress that Ashley had already had. And Stacey wants nothing to do with Vivian again after this. She thinks that it was, but I don't understand. Is that a fashion designer's worst offense you can ever do? Is repeat a dress of another cast member? I couldn't get the acrimony there, or how. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Ashley said that it was made for her, or like designed for her. So yeah, it was weird, but yeah, it didn't seem like I don't know, like that big of a deal. But it was to the point where she said, "We're no longer friends." Wendy claims that Stacey said, "Fuck that bitch," and Stacey's like, "I didn't say that." And she's like, "Yes, you did." And then she goes, "Well, she's dead. She's dead to me, and it's over." And I'm like, damn, okay.
Dead to her. I really want to know Vivian's side. Like, did she really, like, because she says she's known Vivian for years. Did Vivian say, "I've got a funny / mean thing I can do to someone I know named Stacey. I'm going to put her in the exact same dress that another cast member already wore 2 months ago"? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I see the intent, the malicious intent.
Yeah, especially because I don't think we ended up seeing that anyways, so we really would have never even known.
Yeah. Lastly, unless there's anything more from the fashion, do you want to talk about the one text that Andy has ever sent to a cast member about their outfit?
We need to discuss the dress, Professor.
Yeah. Andy, in 18 years, he said he's never commented on anyone's fashion when he's seen it. But then he took a screenshot of him watching the rough cut or the dailies of the edit, and he goes, "We need to talk about this dress, Professor, because Wendy wore that Michelin Man-esque top."
Yeah, it might have been a dress, but yeah, it had crazy like accordion style pleats that made it a wild shape, and he was like, "I don't know about that one."
Yeah, that's the first outfit he's ever commented on in 18 years.
I also like that there was a fan question about Ashley's bunions.
Yeah, she didn't say that she's going to do anything. She didn't say she's going to do anything about him. Not that she has to, but when they said
it's like brutal surgery.
Really?
Like, really bad. Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Wow, I didn't know that. All right. Wow. Well,
because they have to, like, change your, like, they have to, like, crack your bones. Because, like, your foot, like, starts going sideways, and they have to, like, get it to go straight,
Really? So if those are left to their own...
They put pins in them, I think.
So, but if they continue to grow, they will turn your feet sideways?
Yeah, like, your big toe, like, curves over.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Ashley, no matter what, I hope that those don't bother you, too much in the future.
Yeah. God bless. And then we get Jacqueline joins. There's an update. She is extremely pregnant as of the reunion.
Not with PP.
Not with PP. Some other guy that she won't say who.
Right. She said, "Stay tuned."
Yeah.
So that was for Andy to be like, "Oh, if I stay tuned, do I have to give you another season in order to enjoy, who you got pregnant with?" I think that's what she was trying to say.
And then Mia, they bring up Ink, who she says they are not together. She's crying about it. She said, it's hard to make their lifestyle work or whatever. And Andy goes, but your tagline is ink is permanent.
Yeah, kind of being a little funny.
Yeah.
You were laughing at that.
Yeah. And then they all go in. Giselle's like, you don't even live in DC. You live in Atlanta. Ashley's like, yep. Like, we don't think you broke up. We think that you don't like the audience response to you dating him. So you're telling everyone you broke up, but low key you live with him in Atlanta and you fly in for the show.
And everyone agrees. Mia has no allies. I mean, she messed it up with Jazzy and Stacey. Those could have potentially been her allies, but Giselle absolutely hates Mia. Wendy doesn't like Mia. Ashley doesn't like Mia. Karen hates Mia. She's not even there. Yeah. So this is rough for Mia. There's no one there to stick up for her.
Yeah, Andy's like, well, where do your kids go to school? And she's like, they do private homeschool, so we can do it anywhere. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help your case.
Right. I've never even heard of that.
Private homeschool.
So it's just like, homeschool, but more, not your parents doing it. It's like a full curriculum and everything that you can do anywhere. Wow.
Sounds weird. And then, Wendy is like, Gordon's in on it too. They're not getting divorced. All three of them are in on it to make their storyline, complicated, because without that, she has no storyline.
Yeah, I don't believe that accusation. I don't think Gordon's in on it. I don't think he's acting in those scenes where he's so flustered and upset about being in scenes with ink and stuff. I think that Mia willfully lies about her domestic situation in order to create conflict and entertainment like they all accuse her of. But I think she's still fucking over Gordon in a way by introducing ink into scenes to get Gordon pissed off, knowing that they're going to be engaging when they go head to head.
Yeah. But do we think that their divorce will ever go through?
I don't think so. I do think that she's lying about the status of their divorce. I think that she wants to leave the door open with Gordon enough, and she might be just playing both sides, not fully out of the door with ink, but maybe they're no labels or whatever. Who knows? Like, they can pick up whenever they want. They probably still see each other, but I don't think she's going to close the door on Gordon. I will say I think that Mia is lying about that.
Yeah. She says that since the show, they've done a legitimate paternity test and that Gordon is in fact the father. And they're like, but didn't you have the kids with IVF? Like, how would he not be the father? And she's like, well, yes, but I could have been pregnant when we did the IVF. And everyone's like, that's literally not how it works. They absolutely make you do a pregnancy test before you do IVF. And she's like, yeah, but if you're not pregnant enough, it won't show up. And they're like, they do a blood test. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't think I realized this whole time that they literally created this boy with IVF and that she still was playing up that there was a paternity question mark.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, it's such a fake
kind of
storyline. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I didn't know that either. And then the 4.5 weeks thing doesn't make sense because they want to make sure that you're not pregnant before it, no matter what. So yeah, I mean, she was using the ignorance of the audience to try to get away with the storyline, and I think the editors also were helping her by not showing any scenes where they mentioned that it was IVF. So obviously, everyone has to acknowledge that Mia was at least lying about questioning the paternity of her son. That is, she knew that all along, but wanted that to be a fodder for entertainment for sure.
Yeah, and was trying to say that in hindsight, she wishes that she didn't bring that stuff up because it's going to be hard to explain to her kids. Everyone's like completely against her.
Yeah.
Wendy's like, I heard her say at one point that she thought she was the Beyonce of the group and that we were all Michelle and Kelly or whatever. And everyone's just kind of up in arms, like calling her out on every single thing.
Yep, totally. Yep. And then they talk about the kid comment where it was like just bringing up Giselle's daughters bringing guys into the house when they were on that trip. And then Giselle says, Giselle's going in at this point. She says, absolutely no mother would discuss the paternity of their child on camera. It's just too awful. And which, Giselle definitely means that. She's not just like coming at Mia for no reason. And then that's, again, Mia is so upset. That's a trigger for her, obviously. And then that causes her to do another walk
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And then it's basically over, but we get the men getting ready in the back, and Eddie and Greg call TJ. They FaceTime him while he's like evacuating for the fires. So that puts into perspective when this was exactly. And they're like, we thought we would see you today. And TJ goes, I ain't going to that fake ass show with them fake ass people. And then they, whatever he says next, they do like a black and white, like horror thunder lightning edit. And they're like, oh.
Eddie and Greg, you got to watch their faces. Eddie and Greg do absolute horrified faces where they're shocked by whatever JT said. It's so ridiculous. I mean, so much about this is ridiculous, but for JT to accuse the show of being fake, a fake ass show with fake ass people, you were by far the fakest part of this thing. You faked your entire demeanor. You seemed so performative and over the top. Whatever you were doing with Stacey seemed very fake. So that is a ridiculous accusation. You were such an outlier in terms of how fake you seemed on this show that you took everyone out of it. But then also, whatever he says, it's going to be an absolute lie. I do not trust him at all about anything he says. If he says that Stacey paid him, I do not believe him. Whatever he says that we're still dating, but she has to lie because she still wants her ex-husband to believe that we're not dating. I don't know what allegation he's going to make, but if it's salacious and horrible against Stacey, I don't believe him. He's mad and embarrassed that he wasn't invited to the reunion and that Stacey broke up with him and doesn't want anything to do with him anymore. That's why he accepted a FaceTime call when he knows they're filming.
Totally.
Yeah.
Eddie texts Wendy that TJ just dropped a bomb, and she's reacting pretty, like that, whatever it is insane. So we have that to look forward to.
Well, do you have any, I already guessed, I think, but do you have any idea what caused Eddie and Greg to almost scream in horror?
Yeah, like I literally don't know. Like it's obviously about Stacey, which we already, I think, knew.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think he said, you're going to have to ask her about that or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I don't know. And the way that this was wielded was a little ridiculous to me. I thought the fact that they were like, let's call TJ. We love him. It's like,
I know. You're not friends with his ass.
Not at all. And then even Wendy's reaction, like obviously it gets to her within 1 second. I was like, I don't know. This is a little silly, but let's see how it plays out. It could be an amazing revelation and you and I will be stunned. But, I just do not trust TJ at all.
Yeah. I wonder how long the husbands will be out there for,
Yeah, I don't know. They've got a lot of Karen stuff to do for part 3, because even though Karen's not there, they're going to talk about their feelings and reactions to Karen. That's going to take 20 minutes. So I'd assume the other half is maybe husband shit. But there wasn't really a lot of husband stuff, unless is Gordon going to be there?
I don't know.
They didn't show it. I feel like they would have shown Gordon, because that would have been extremely enticing. But we'll see. I know that they'll be able to do it for part 3. But I have to ask you, do you mind if we do something that we rarely do anymore? But can I take a certified turtle piss break?
Please, I have to get this freaking cat off mic. He's like right next to me.
Okay, all right, okay. Let's do that, and we will be right back very soon.
Hey.
We're back.
Hello.
Did you solve your Norman issue?
I put him in bed, so we'll see. I bet he'll come back before the end, but
does he love bed though?
He gets nosy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he slept all day already, so.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, we'll see what happens with him. Okay, now you and I think it is our duty, and we feel responsible for covering last week's episode of Southern Charm. It was called Text Message in a Bottle. I know why they said this. Message in a bottle. Everyone knows that.
On an island.
Message in a bottle. Easily, that makes sense to me. You put a message in a bottle, floats around, somebody gets it on the other side of the ocean, throw a text message in there. You're talking about Shep's text message heard around the world to Sienna. They loved this text message, which we'll get to. Before we race in, what's the progress report? What's the status report on, this is the 11th episode, or I don't know what, maybe 10th. I don't know. We're like nearing towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about Southern Charm overall?
I mean, I'm at least entertained on these with the getting to see the Sienna stuff
Yeah.
in the flesh, like that's getting me by. But I don't know what's the deal is going to be after they leave the island. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but like, I feel like there's not that much to move forward off of.
Yeah. The Sienna stuff definitely gave it new life. Like that they're there and then it's awkward. Like that's kind of fun. I'm very tired of the Austin and Craig dynamic, which we've already talked about, and it seems like they're doing even more regarding that. And then I do feel like the JT stuff, which could have been kind of interesting to have that woven through about the lying that Craig did, that is just like we keep getting deprived of JT. He could have had conflict with Austin, but now we lost him for these 2 episodes. So... But then as I was watching this episode, I was like, I'm kind of just okay though watching them on a Bahamas trip. It's just kind of like fun, to see people just on vacation that we like to watch. So I think that these are inherently entertaining in a way, but overall, I don't know if it's like making the season like a lot better or more enjoyable.
It sounds like almost everyone missed their flight.
Yeah, what the hell is going on?
Like, how hard is it to make your freaking flight? Like, Vanita missed her flight, Whitney missed his flight, and JT missed his flight.
Yeah, and then JT missed the flight that he was supposed to be on after the first flight got canceled with those with Whitney. I have no idea what is going on. I was sad that Molly had a horrible migraine and she couldn't go out to the first night's dinner, and it seems like she's barely recovered the next day.
She took an L.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I brought this up before, but I got another clip of her on America's Next Top Model, and I vividly remember her because she has one of the worst hair makeovers. I don't know if you were watching ANTM in your youth, but It's sort of like a standard trope where she forces everyone to get not everyone, but she'll single out some girls to get like a revolutionary makeover. Like a girl with long hair, she'll be like, let's do a pixie or whatever. And like, historically they're upset about this, and they forced Molly to get a weave, and it was like this like clown ass like curly blonde hair that looked like absolute shit, and she's so pissed off. And by the time she gets to the panel at the end or whatever, Tyra goes, we gotta get that thing off your head, that is not working for you.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't believe not only do I remember her, but I mean, I remember her because of that, I think, because I remember being like, that poor girl.
Yeah. Wow. Molly and Sally are true reality television stars. I didn't know that Molly was also on Hospitality. And then now you're telling me she's on this. And then Sally's been on 3 reality shows. She was on The Bachelor, I think. Like, I'm, oh my God, what if I just said that and it's not true? I'm almost positive Sally was also on The Bachelor too. It's like, damn, they're making the rounds.
I think I've still only seen like the first episode of season 2 of Southern Hospitality, but I like blinked and looked up on my screen. I was like, is that Sally? I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. Oh, she has I don't want to spoil it, but there's about 3 episodes that have a huge Sally arc in them. I can't wait for you to get to that. I can't wait for you to learn more about Joe Bradley, Maddie, TJ. I think there's a TJ on that show. JT. I can't wait for you to meet some of these people, especially in season 3. Yes. Okay. All of a sudden, Shep comes down the stairs. Is this true? He looks awesome.
Looks like what he always wears.
White pants, tucked in shirt, flip-flops. He goes, are flip-flops okay? And Sienna goes, let me get a good look at you. She spins him around. She goes, this looks amazing, this outfit. So she loves it. He passes the test. And then that means that they can officially go to dinner, right? Yeah. At this place, this Bahamas
establishment. Craig... someone finally says it. Craig goes, I've watched enough 90 Day Fiancé to know that this is not sitting right with me. You could cut the tension with a knife with these 2.
Yeah, so Craig is implying that Sienna is in a 90 Day Fiancé situation trying to take advantage of Shep she doesn't like Shep.
No. That's the thing. It doesn't really add up. I also watched a video that I sent to you because Sienna did a series of videos talking about the truth behind this whole thing, which honestly I watched, I think, all of them, and there wasn't really any excuse except that it sounds like she had started pumping the brakes before this trip happened, so then it was awkward because they just had to move forward anyway.
Yeah, she did give the scoop though that Whitney on Raya was the one who matched first, and
Like
then
forcibly matched. Like apparently it's like it's not like a two lock system. He like normally you would both have to match, but he like she was making it seem like there was some way that he like went past the system in place and like messaged her directly.
Whitney has locked you in on Raya. What the hell is going on Raya? You can get a match with someone that you don't want to talk to, and then Whitney wrote a message. He wrote something. I think it was, "How are you?"
Hi, how are you? She was like, "Good, you."
Yeah, it was pretty good. But so, that's at least, I like to know that. But I will say those 3 or 4 videos you sent me, like, there was not a lot of information in any of those things. It was a lot of video to watch to find out maybe 1 or 2 little nuggets of information.
The only thing that I thought was interesting was someone asked her about what she thought about Craig asking her how many generations had been in the Bahamas. And she revealed that her ancestors lived in Charleston and that they had to flee because they were all hail the king. They were loyalist Tories and they had to flee to the Bahamas because the revolution happened and they had to get out of Dodge.
So they said, "We don't want any part of this."
Yeah, they were like, "God save the king."
Oh my God. They're like, the Boston Tea Party is happening. Like, put that stuff back.
They were like, "It was good the way it was. Leave it."
I really do. I think about that. When you look back on the American Revolution, you're like, every American was probably like, "Let's go. I don't want the king to be taxing me, King George III." But I bet about 30% of people were just like, "I really don't care."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There were some people who were probably just like, "I don't give a shit. If you guys fight for it and we get it, that sounds great." But there must have been people who were like, "I like King George III. He came over."
He's not crazy.
Yeah. I think I told you this, but a lot of that, I hate to say it, but a lot of that King George III stuff was written by, I'll just say it, some biased parties. Benjamin Franklin, some of the other founding fathers, they wanted King George to look like he was deranged, and he wasn't. He was one of the most fairest impartial
I think
kings.
I know what you would have done.
Yeah, even famously Ben Franklin. Don't get me started. His son was loyal to the crown. He goes, "I don't know what's going on with my dad." I
just watched Finding Your Roots, and Kristen Bell's family was a spy for the crown.
Really?
In the U.S., yeah.
Oh my God, was she upset?
She was like, she was saying similar to you, like, how can I judge? Like, they probably were like, it's nice like this.
Yeah. Not everybody wants a revolution on their hands,
Also, Sharon Stone's, I think it was 18th great-grandfather is Charlemagne.
Whoa, no way. Wow, she found that out on Finding Your Roots?
I wish I could do it so bad. Can we be on there?
Yeah, there should be a low-level one where, like, you just say, "Please, can we do it?" I really want to know, because it seems like every single person that ever goes on it is related to someone famous or notable.
Yeah. Lena Dunham matched with Larry David.
Really?
And Larry David matched with Bernie Sanders.
Oh my gosh. The revelations that are happening on that. So that was good to know, Sienna. So they were loyal. You said they were loyal to the crown.
So anyways, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And because it fits into the Southern charm history of it all, where it always leads back to this like early American history. But she did also say that it's offensive when was it Craig and Madison that were talking about her trying to get a visa or whatever, because she was like, "I have an American passport. I'm literally American."
Yeah, I never thought that, and so like the 90 Day Fiance stuff, I didn't even think of that, because it's like I've seen those shows. It's not like they're not like she's trying to pull away from Shep actively. It's always the reverse normally if you'd want to get American citizenship or whatever. So I didn't really understand.
It is the thing of like, it's like a guy from America going to a foreign place, and she has to basically like plug her nose and be like, yeah, like I love you, like you're awesome, let's get married, even though she hates his guts. Like that's, I think, what they mean.
So you don't think Karini liked Paul?
Oh my God, when he got chased with a machete.
Shep comes down and Sienna, and he goes, you know, he tells us, or he tells her, it's like, we were so hot and passionate at the start of this thing. We were hot and heavy. We were off to the races, you and I. So that's kind of, he's telling her what's going on. Like, I don't really understand why everything changed, so much here. And then he says, he keeps going. He goes, I thought that you and I were going to have, beautiful little babies that were going to rule the world together. They would be conquering nature. What did he say? He said the smartest little children in the universe that were going to be connected to nature and the ocean and live all over the world. And then Sienna's kind of like saying, I didn't know that you thought any of those things. You know what I mean? Yeah. He is so head over heels for Sienna. It is so shocking to see.
Yeah. I know, especially because it appears that she's giving him absolutely nothing. I don't know if Rodrigo was saying on the after show that he had spent time with both her and Austin's girlfriend, Audrey, and that they had like an amazing time, and that Rodrigo was shocked that she was like rude to him on this trip, because he's like, we hung out before, like we were like, had a good time. Like, I really liked you girls, both of you. So I think maybe there was like a switch, like that, like she didn't want to be doing this, so she just completely shut down or something.
That's what I think. I think that I think that she probably stopped being so enamored of Shep at a certain point and didn't want this anymore. And then they have to adhere to a huge cast trip where there's a lot of pressure on her, and she's like, I'm not feeling that way anymore, obviously. And then he's like doubling down and going to the moon. Like,
he said, I'm wildly, wildly attracted to you and in love with you. And she's like,
yes.
And he's like, I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know where we stand. And she's like, we never really defined the relationship in the first place. And he's like, you must have known how I felt. And she goes, well, I do now.
Yeah, she's not giving him anything. Not an I like you, you're fun, let's see how this plays out. Like, she's pretty much shutting him down in every instance where he tries to get romantic. The rest of the people are at this dinner. What'd you think about that restaurant?
Look fun.
I want to go to the Bahamas someday, so I'm trying to see which of these establishments I'm going to go to.
I mean, that fish fry, they were saying that, because I assumed it was just the restaurant they were at, but they were saying that it's actually a series of, it's like a stretch of bars. So you kind of like get to do like a crawl.
That's
and I was
awesome.
Like, that sounds so fun.
Yeah, that sounds so cool. This dinner was a little bit of a mess. I don't know. Maybe it was. I mean, I think that I thought that it was a little inorganic, the shit that was going on. But they get there, they want to leave a sacred spot for Shep and Sienna to sit in the middle. And then the minute that they get there, I feel like Austin was like, Shep, let's go talk. And then, you know what I mean? And it was just like, what? You guys just got to dinner, and then all of a sudden you're dividing the group so that you can have those two private conversations. It just felt very much like a producer-driven decision. It just didn't make sense in the context of a dinner. Like, what's going on here?
Right. Yeah, it happened very quickly.
Yeah.
Then the girls, I guess it's not just girls, but Madison leads the charge in saying, I've heard you've been playing hard to get. And Sienna goes, am I playing or am I just hard to get? And she's like, we've had, good times together. She's pretty vague. Madison goes straight up, are you and Shep actually together? And then Sally adds on and is like, can you hook up with other dudes? Are you exclusive? And they really play up, it's all cut up, so it's kind of hard to tell what the fuck her answer was. But she basically said, like, maybe, I don't know, we've never had formal conversations. So you're like, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah. But like, Shep hasn't had those conversations. It sounds like he would like marry you right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just too complicated to understand what's really going on. I just want somebody to just say what's happening, you know?
Right.
Like I don't understand Sienna's perspective, and I really don't understand Shep's. You know, there's
Right.
like something missing here.
Totally. And then Shep is filling in Austin. He's like, she said that she wants to keep talking about our future. He's like, she said that she misses me when I'm gone. And then they roll the clip and he goes, do you miss me? And she goes, we'll see.
Yeah, it was really sad. She didn't even say anything close to "I miss you." Maybe that's what he's been. Maybe that's that shows what's been going on in this relationship. He heard "I miss you," and she didn't say that at all.
Yeah, Austin says Shep is bad at picking up signals.
Yeah.
And then Sienna to the group is like, me and Shep are really similar. We're both really non-committal. And then Shep comes back to the table and Madison's like, everything she said checked out. And then I think, is it Taylor goes like, she said you guys are non-committal. Like she's sort of like popping off still.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So we learned from that conversation that Sienna and him are non-committal, but we know Shep is not at all, that he wants to be extremely committed and he's telling her all the time. So really we are yet to find out how Sienna actually views this relationship.
right. Then we get after midnight. We don't really get the footage, but apparently everyone went and partied in the room, but Sienna went home saying she had a stomach ache.
Yeah. They were kind of like, you know, when they show those scenes and it's like, you know, if it was good enough, obviously it would have been 10 minutes of the edit, but they kind of show them partying and it was, no offense to them, it was a little lackluster. It was like Madison was throwing a thing of popcorn into Taylor's mouth. At one point, Austin went behind the blinds and he goes, boo! And it's just like, all right, hey, you guys were partying your asses off, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, in the morning they do the like fucked up food and booze in the room edit. And Shep is up bright and early. He's on the treadmill. He goes into Austin's room and draws the curtains, and Austin's like, what the fuck? Like, please, no. And he dog piles on him and he's like, why? And he's like, can I read you my text that I sent Sienna? He's like, okay. And I did write it down. He said, Sienna, or good morning, Sienna. Listen, I love seeing you, and no one else makes me feel the way that you do. No one. I'm not going to try to convince someone that they love me for 3 days, especially when I know deep down that they do.
Hold on.
Yeah. When he says that, it does horror music, and Austin is like, his eyes are like,
Yeah. When I know deep down that they do love
the
me.
opposite of what is happening.
Yeah, that was a wild thing to say. And then you're right. It goes from cute, sweet music to then scary. What the hell is he saying? And it keeps getting worse.
Yeah. He goes, here's hoping that you understand my feelings and exalt them. I'm like, that really, like, I was like, what? And then he said, I just don't feel this way almost ever. I know that you agree and feel a lot of what I do because I've heard it from your perfect little freckled lips. Horror music again, and Austin's like, pfft.
Yeah, Austin is like more and more shocked by the things that Shep wrote. It's very interesting to get a peek into how Shep texts, especially when he's like in love, because it is a little odd.
Diatribe. And then, the rest of it is, and those around us can say and think what they will, but we will have the last laugh, and we'll have love, laughter, and literally everything that matters. Okay, my TED Talk is over. When he said, my TED Talk is over, he thought that was like the most clever shit you've ever heard in your life.
I know.
It was giving like, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Like, I was like, okay, like that's the most like played shit ever. Yeah,
I mean, my esteem for his literary prowess really plummeted after the second time he got so excited that he said that, okay, my TED Talk is over. Like, rough way to end a text, for sure.
The enthusiasm behind his eyes when he looks to Austin for like approval is, and Austin's like, oh my God. He's like, Oh, he's like, I'm cringing for you, bro.
Are TED Talks a part of our culture enough to reference them 6 months ago?
No, I feel like when's the last time anyone's watched one of those?
I
don't know.
have no
The
clue.
brand is diluted.
Yeah,
that was like me at my office job in like 2014 watching some of those.
Right. And you're right. That's what Austin said. He goes, I respect your vulnerability. That's for sure. But he said, Austin in the confessional, he says, I want to die hearing those. I want to evaporate into the Bahamian sun. And then they do a beautiful edit where Austin disappears. Yeah, and it's true. It was really, you can imagine if Sienna got about 6 or 7 of those sporadically throughout their relationship, it's definitely going to make you think about someone a little differently.
People were on the after show rioting for him. Sally and Molly were like, if a guy that I liked sent me that, I'd be like, let's have a baby tomorrow. Like, it was so nice or whatever. And I'm like, well, first of all, she doesn't like him. Second of all, it was just kind of a weird message anyways, but
yeah. Wouldst thou exalt my feelings, please? Yeah, I don't know. I think that the language was a little over the top and ridiculous. But it's interesting to see Shep in this position. I don't think he's ever pined or loved someone like this before. So he's handling it for the first time.
Yeah. I have to feel like, since it's so unreciprocated, although maybe it was slightly different before, but either way, they haven't known each other very long or spent that much time together. It feels like a sort of like phantom relationship where he's like putting way more than is warranted into this. I think because maybe he's gotten his life together a bit, like, I don't know exactly what he has going on, but it seems like he's turned a new leaf since, at least since last year. So like people, I think, was it in the after show, they were saying like, I mean, he didn't do all this for Taylor or whatever. And I'm like, they were trying to imply that he loves Sienna much more than he ever loved Taylor. And I'm like, I think he was just like with Taylor at a time when he was like completely like disheveled and like fucking up his life. So if he would have met her now, or if like, then maybe they could have just had a normal relationship. But like, I can't understand a world in which he loves this girl more than he did someone he dated for years.
Yeah. She represents something to him that we'll never know. But there's just no proof of whatever the feelings are, back to him. Like, I just don't understand it at all. You can't see one glimmer into what they had this beautiful time. So yeah, it's kind of a mystery. He meets up with, they do flamingo yoga. We don't need to talk about that. Nothing happens. No. Ryan and Whitney and Vanita arrive. Nothing really happens. Vanita just like jumps up, and now she's joined the cast. Also, Craig, he reads the text, the entire thing again to Craig, and Austin is like in the background, and they both keep kind of making eyes at each other, laughing. And Craig is normally the romantic one, but he's like, dog, I gotta be honest with you, like it was a valiant effort, but like it shouldn't be this hard. Yeah, totally. And that's the truth. I mean, it really is. It's hard for Shep to hear, but like Shep trying to make this work like this, having to send that text and her not responding for a couple days, it's obviously not going well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Craig is being honest, but Shep doesn't like how callous he thinks Craig is being about this, even though, I think Craig is right.
Yeah. And then it's like, the group is going to split into snorkeling and the fish fry. And for some reason, Sienna doesn't want to go snorkeling with Shep. She might go to the fish fry with the other half of the group. And Craig is like, no, like, why would she come hang out with us if you're not there? Like, no, she can't come.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. But I also, I do not understand why they split up at this time. If Sienna was going to go to the fish fry, could possibly Shep not go snorkeling with Ryan and Taylor?
Do you really need to go that bad? bad.
Like, it must have been real that he really wanted to go snorkeling, and then I honor them for keeping the real decision. But for the show, it made no sense to not just make the group all go together. So Sienna got to another scene with the entire group and Shep. So that was
But
very
it felt more, it felt like it wasn't that she didn't want to snorkel, it was that she didn't want to be with Shep.
Yeah, and then I think Craig, a fourth wall break is that Craig thinks that it's not a good sign if Sienna is willing to not be with the person that she's here supposedly for and wants to go on a group outing with the rest of the cast of Southern Charm. I think he's trying to say that it gives him the worry that Sienna is in this for the wrong reason, like she wants to be on the show and not there for Shep.
Yeah. Which, watching her videos and stuff, I'm like, I'm still confused about it all, because if she did want to be on the show, she would be better on the show. It felt like she didn't want to be on the show.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Sienna and what she's doing. She didn't clarify anything in those 3 or 4 videos. So I don't know. Did she possibly just want to be on Southern Charm for a couple of episodes because her grandma loves it so much? She thought it was a fun opportunity, but I don't get the sense that she's trying to become a cast member and using Shep as a stepping stone, because she's not at all having fun in any of the scenes. She went home early. She had a stomach ache and left. Like, so she's not using the show to her advantage. If that was Sally, who was in the Bahamas and faking a relationship with Shep, you better believe Sally would be in every single episode. She'd be inviting Rodrigo to go to tea at Patricia's house, 5 times. So you question Sienna's motives, because you're like, ultimately, what do you want from this? You don't like Shep, and it seems like you don't really want to be on the show.
Right. It's weird. That's why it's confusing, and we can't seem to get to the bottom of it, except that maybe the relationship fizzled before this trip.
And she still was like, I will do a couple things with you all because you're in the Bahamas.
Right. And that's why everyone's confused, because they're like, why are we on this trip if you don't want to be with us? Mm-hmm. And he calls her, or she calls him, and he's like, what are you feeling like doing today? Do you still want to go to the fish fry? And she goes, I don't know if that's something I want to take on right now.
Yeah.
She said she's still sick from last night. I don't usually drink. And he's like, I know I sent you that text. He's like, I don't know if I'd call it intense, but it was heartfelt. And she goes, no, it was intense, really intense.
Yeah. And then Shep lets her off the hook. He goes, well, I'm just going to try to have a fun day today. You don't have to come to either of these things if you don't want to. And then and she goes, I'll just let you go, for the day. And then she goes, that's perfect. And then he hangs up, and he's kind of just sad in that room looking out the window by himself after the call.
Also, all the guys are eavesdropping because they want to hear what she says. And at one point, Austin tries to be like, she's like, da-da-da. And Craig goes, shut the fuck up. And he gets up. I'm like, and then later when they're going to go out, they're about to walk out the door, and he goes, fucking Christ, I forgot my bracelet. And I'm like, is he a psycho? Why does he keep having these outbursts?
Yeah, the shut the fuck up was really odd. You wanted to listen to that conversation that bad. Craig was legitimately so pissed. I looked at his face. He's like, shut the fuck up. And he got up. It's like, damn, no wonder Austin's pissed at you for the rest of the episode.
You're annoying. God. And I'm like, what bracelet? What are you talking about? And then Madison is like, she's like, sucks for Shep, but I'm secretly loving it because he's had his hands meddling in my relationships over the years. And they show, I forgot about the contention, what Madison had to go through. They were did not like her rising to power over the years.
Oh no, they fought her every step of the way. There were 7 scenes of Shep criticizing Madison like that. Also seeing all those scenes of Shep, I forget because of the arc of time, but he was such more he was so much more of an asshole. Throughout the first 6 or 7 season, he really does seem reformed, at least this season. He seems in a completely different headspace post that ayahuasca trip, at least.
I know. And I always have to be reminded of his boyish good looks every time they do the flashback. I'm like, yeah, he was a cutie.
Aww. Yeah, so they decide to take their separate endeavors. Snorkeling. Yes. Not too much happens at Snorkel City, right?
No, fucking horrible group.
Ryan, Taylor,
Molly,
Molly, Shep. Shep is so depressed at the snorkeling. Ryan's scared of the sharks. They go in. They don't even show them snorkeling.
No.
That means that was a flop.
Yeah.
And then when they come back, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, in the after show, it's Ryan and Patricia.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm like, why does he get this much ground to stand on? It's insane.
Patricia wanted I think wanted a cast member on the show, or she thought he'd be absolutely perfect. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of a misfire on Patricia's part, unfortunately. Who knows what could have happened with Ryan if we were allowed to see more of his scenes. But for now, it's very jarring to see Ryan go on a cast trip with the amount of scenes we've seen from him, maybe about 3 or 4, where he barely even speaks. So for him to show up for this trip and be on the snorkel trip is very, very shocking to me.
Strange.
But
yeah, not much. They talk about Sienna at the lunch or whatever. They show a little bit of, they prove that Craig has a background about going to the Bahamas, because I guess he went there after him and Naomi broke up, and they show him talking to Cameron about it like a million years ago. But yeah, this just starts up that Craig thinks everything that he says pisses off Austin, which maybe it kind of does.
Yeah, they show a couple of Austin faces. A few of them are I can't read them, but then there were a couple where Austin is looking around and he wants nothing to do with what Craig is saying. And then they show one edit where Craig he says something like, "I used to eat chicken in the bag once a week when I lived here." And then he looked at Austin's face, and Austin was going, "Oh God!" And so he was right about at least one of them. But like you just said, it's very quite possible that after Craig screamed "shut the fuck up" while he was talking, Austin was pissed at Craig for a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fully representative of how far they've fallen.
Yeah, because Austin said that Craig is always acting so high and mighty about like Shep needs to get his life together. Like, is he going to hit the bottle if this goes sideways? Like, I have my life together, whatever. And Austin's like, yeah, unless you get the wrong hotel room, then you like throw a fucking fit. So I think he's just like annoyed.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, he got back at Craig for making a big deal of that. I did like, just at the Shep snorkel before we move past it, I did like when they were like, "You're on a beach, Shep," and he goes, "Please don't remind me that I am here." And he goes, "I'm sorry, I am just having a really hard time right now." He's so sad.
He's about to cry, for real.
Yeah, he's so sad.
I've never seen anything like it.
I feel so bad for him. I mean, I guess the best, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but, you know, he must have had a completely different portrait leading up to this trip of all of the fun, beautiful times they had. And then she pulled a 180 on him in his mind 2 days before this trip or something. Because I just do not understand this reaction to his relationship.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking of all of Craig's outbursts. Someone should do a master cut. Was it on the show, or did I see it on TikTok of, it was old because Landon was in it, but Craig like socks Shep in the thigh, and he's like, "Next time it'll be your face if you don't shut up." And he's like so mad.
No, when did they show that clip? I gotta see it again.
I'll find it I saw it on TikTok, but I can't remember if it surfaced. But anyways, Craig is such a little shit. Like, I cannot believe the glorious reframing he got. Like, I am glad that I held resentment this whole time, because I'm like, you cannot convince me that he's not just like a petulant little fucker. Like, he was better with Paige than he was before, but like, he's just like a ridiculous person.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, the fun of Craig and the 90% not screaming and punching people in the thighs like overwhelms the part where I know he flares up and says really stupid stuff. But if you wanted to just think of all those moments and be like, that's indicative of Craig, then I totally understand why some people like don't like him. The last thing in that montage I was just going to say of all of Craig's lowlights would be someone admitting finally what he did at Kyle and Amanda's wedding, that it got his ass thrown out.
Yeah.
Because we still have no clue. And maybe it's time, Paige, now that you've turned the page on Craig, to let us know what the hell Craig did at that wedding.
I would rather hear about that than the girls he was supposedly texting, that I feel like there's not going to be much there.
Really?
I'm ready to be proven wrong. But I don't think he was like having like an emotional affair or something.
Oh, right. I heard at the wedding that he looked at a big bookshelf and he said, I don't like any of these books. And he tore down the bookshelf off the wall and they all crashed to the floor of this beautiful house.
He was just like losing his mind.
We saw him at his worst. You and I contend his worst was Winter House season 1 or
Yes.
2? 2. When he comes in, he throws a bunch of money in Kyle's face and goes, give me the master bedroom. He grabs a lampshade, he puts it on his head, and then he starts dancing on a table and he breaks a bunch of stuff.
Craig refuses to clean it up and is like, we'll pay people to do that. But yeah, I'm like, I know that Austin has been a shitbag over the years and like was shitty to Sierra and like is like, you know, kind of just like, he just like, he's the ultimate sort of historically Peter Pan in the sense that he doesn't really like think about the consequences of what he's doing. Like he's sort of just like floating through life and it's just like, what? Like, I don't want to commit. Like, what do you mean I hurt you? Like,
yeah,
that, what? So I understand that can be infuriating, but like, it's a little more like lighthearted to watch or something where I'm just like, this fucking guy. Whereas with Craig, I'm like,
I agree with you for the most part. I think Shep has more of the Jax quality if we're comparing him to a different cast member who gets away with a lot of bad behavior sometimes, but has the charisma to compensate for it. Whereas Craig, when he has outbursts, they're more jarring and out of nowhere, and he seems like he's not in control of himself. I agree with you. At a point, and then at the end of it, Shep goes, if I skip this sand dollar, I swear Sienna's going to fall in love with me. And they go, you can't do it, Shep. It's not going to skip for one time. And he goes, watch me. And he skips this thing and it goes for 3 bounces in the ocean. Did you like that scene?
Yeah, Taylor was like, God damn it, I was wrong.
Yeah, I love that. One secret, underrated, fun thing about Southern Charm is how much Taylor is still absolutely in love with Shep. And everything she says is basically showing her cards in terms of how she still thinks about Shep, how she wants to go snorkeling with him. He goes, you said you were going on the fish fry. And she was like, well, I chose snorkeling instead. And she doesn't even justify it. It's like, Gaston is, like we already talked about, he's a full-blown rebound. She doesn't give a shit about him. If Shep said, Taylor, I want to make it work, she would kick Gaston to the curb in 2 seconds. So I do like that, but she's not admitting it, and no one says it. No one will even say, I think Taylor still absolutely loves Shep, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see if that ever happens. I don't care to really watch that, but...
What? Taylor and Shep? Taylor and Shep getting back together? Oh, Molly does say a sweet thing. She's letting it out. She goes, I think Shep just needs to find the right person. Me. So she wants Shep to date her, which, you know, that's kind of interesting.
I'd rather
too.
watch that, frankly.
Me too. I like that.
And yeah, so it looks like next week we finally get our JT. We get Craig versus JT about the lie.
Yeah.
And then we get Vanita and JT, no cameras.
JT goes, get those cameras out of here. I don't want them to witness.
Doesn't he have a girlfriend?
He goes, I don't want them to witness what's going to happen in here. I also thought it was so mean when they go, did JT get his wings on the flight from the pilot? And then they go, oh, come here, little guy, and go in the cockpit with the pilot. They were making fun of JT's
Who's
size.
the one that said it? They were like, you guys are so bad.
Craig, I think, because even Craig didn't want to go that far with them. But yeah, and then at the end, you know, Craig just says, me and Austin are still bad. It's getting worse. And Madison goes, okay, I don't think that this is as bad. It's kind of funny that Madison has to be the bridge between both of them, you know, for this storyline that is like very inconsequential and doesn't really matter at all.
Yeah, but she's more on Austin's side. She's like, I think Craig's taking it a little far.
Yeah.
So
good. Well, we got some Bahama mania.
Bahama mama.
We got some Bahama stuff that I like to see, those daiquiris and flamingo yoga. So I love, obviously, even if you're not tuned into the dramatic conflict of an episode, it's kind of just fun to see them all, you know, do all that kind of shit and see a different place. You know, I never get to travel, so I love that kind of shit.
I do respect Madison's ability to throw him back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when they showed her champagne edit where she was chugging 7 glasses of champagne. Yeah, that was great. So, you know, I think I agree with you completely that the Sienna stuff got interesting, but I really need some resolution. I think that scene that they keep showing where Shep's going to say, we said I love you to each other, and she goes, I never said that. That's got to be very clear for Shep that maybe he can move forward from this. And then Austin and Craig are going to have that crying reconciliation potentially. And then I'm so excited for JT to be back and take ownership of what he actually said versus letting Craig run this rumor around with no pushback. So there's the ingredients to have a great final 3 or 4 episodes. It's just been on a little bit of a lull, albeit still entertaining because we love this cast for the most part.
Yeah.
Half the cast.
I hope Craig gets fired up with JT and it gets exciting.
I hope so too. Well, good. Well, okay. We talked about 2 episodes of Potomac. We talked about Southern Charm. That's all on the docket for Turtle Time today. We talked about all of the piping hot news. So I think I have to say check, check, check. Turtle Time might be officially winding down. How do you feel about that?
Adios.
Yes. Okay, I'll just say quickly. I'll just say, I'm not going to say Patreon.
Okay.
But I am going to say, please, if you enjoy Turtle Time, even if it's a different episode, you liked it once in the past, and you hit you're like, oh, this episode wasn't as good. Just overall, why not rate just the full experience of Turtle Time if you have about 30 seconds? Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can, and that helps boost us completely high up in the rankings. People see that and they go, what the hell is this podcast that has a 4.9 out of 5? Is that our...
I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, so
something like that.
So please review us, please, and then we will be back later this week where we will be recapping Summer House and whatever the hell else
Oh
comes
damn,
up.
we're 4.7.
Oh my God! Did someone rate us a couple 2s or 1s? 4.7. That's not, in the grand scheme of things, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
What does the daily have?
Help us get to 500 ratings.
Oh, that
We're
would be so
nearing.
awesome. Yeah, 4.7, that's not too bad. That's a couple 1. I know we got a couple 1s in there, but that's okay. All right, well, Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs, thank you for joining us again, and we'll be back later this week, so I'm going to say goodbye.